Good morning, dear students. Today we are learning chapter 3, Social Institutions, Continuity and Change. We have already learned caste in past, and today this class is about colonialism and caste, the impact of colonial rule on caste. Okay, this part can be asked for a 6-mark question. It's very important because many of the changes that happened in caste system was due to the colonial rule, and hence this part is very important. Okay, we already learned the caste in past, that is traditional caste system, and now we are learning colonial rule and caste, that is caste system during colonial period, and then we will be learning caste system during post-colonial period or caste system after independence. So we are classifying that period, colonial period, as the period from 1800 to 1947. Understood? Colonial period was the period from 1800 to 1947. It is important. Then after that we are learning post-colonial period, that is from 1947 till now, or the 1947 till present day. Okay. So present form of caste was, the institution of caste was shaped by the colonial rule as well as the rules made by independent India or the policies made by government of India. So many changes that happened in the caste system were the changes during colonial rule. Various important policies put forward by the Britishers developed or resulted in changes in caste system. But we cannot say all the changes that were there in the caste system were due to the policies of colonial rule or due to the policies of Britishers. Most of the changes were deliberate and some were not deliberate. Now we are analyzing how these changes happened, what are the reasons behind these changes, and what resulted in the changes in caste system, etc. Britishers wanted to analyze caste system because when Britishers came to India, they were surprised to see the two things that were there in India were untouchability and caste system. And you must have already learned about the caste system as a peculiarity of Indian society. You have already learned, okay? Caste system is a peculiarity of Indian society. So British administrators decided to analyze caste for a better rule. They wanted to rule India, they wanted to colonize India, and for colonizing or for their better rule, they learned that they have to analyze about caste. They have to take why caste system is like this, what is the hierarchy. They realized a few hierarchical system in caste system. They wanted to find out the hierarchical arrangements. They wanted to take the strength of each caste, etc. for their better rule. And for that they started some methodological as well as intensive surveys. They started to collect reports about caste all over the country. Some efforts took the shape of methodological and intensive surveys and reports about caste all over the country. Means they they conducted methodological studies, they conducted intensive surveys, collected reports about the caste and its hierarchy all over the country. When they started to take about this, take this survey, they realized that it is not an easy task to take the survey of caste all over the country. So hence they began with a census in 1860s. So that is very important. The first census, that was the first census in India, that was in 1860s. And then after 21 years, they realized that this census, that census was not clear. The first census in 1860s was not clear, and we have to conduct scientific census, and then hence they started to take scientific census in 1861. They used various scientific techniques to collect data in 1881, and from 1881 onwards they took a regular 10-year census in India. Some breaks were there in between, but still we can say from 1881 onwards Britishers took regular 10-yearly census. Then after, so that was in 1881, that is also important. Regular scientific survey started in India in 1881. First survey was in 1860s. Then comes after 20 years in 1901, Herbert Russley. You have already learned about Herbert Russley in your first year class. Russley was a social anthropologist. He was in India. He was conducting various anthropological studies, and hence he was appointed as the census commissioner and appointed to collect information about the caste system, about the social hierarchy of the caste, and was appointed to find out the position of each caste in the caste system. So for that he collected information about caste from people, and when he started to take this information, people started to claim their highest position in the social scale by presenting scriptural as well as recordical claims. With the help of records, with the help of data, people came to claim their highest position in social hierarchy. People thought that claiming highest position is a better option, because higher caste people were enjoying many facilities, many benefits in the society. So they wanted to claim them as highest in the social hierarchy. And this had resulted in a widespread attempt from the society to claim their higher status. So census collection created a change by claiming, people started to claim their highest position in the caste hierarchy. Then comes the land revenue laws and settlements by the British government. And these land revenue settlements, for example, Mahalwari system, Raitwari system, etc., had given land rights to landless people. And these landless people, majority of these landless people who were looking after land were upper caste people. And because of the land revenue settlement and laws, people got the ownership of the land which they were looking after for many years, and they became very rich. Then the large scale irrigation schemes implemented by the British government, and especially in northern India, helped poor as well as lower caste people to become rich and owners of the land, especially in Punjab. People who were living near the rivers, near the streams, etc., benefited the irrigation, benefited the facilities of the irrigation schemes, and they started to cultivate things, and then they became very rich and became the owners of land. So that also changed the social status of some lower caste people, poor and lower caste people. Then comes the Government of India Act of 1935, and this Government of India Act gave legal recognition to depressed classes. Government of India Act identified depressed classes as scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, and Government of India Act recognized these people to provide some constitutional benefits to scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. So knowing about these constitutional benefits, there was a tendency among the depressed classes as well as higher class people to claim their position in the caste as low. So the Government of India Act 1935 resulted in a tendency to claim their position in the caste as low, whereas When Herbert Leslie started to take the census data in 1901, people started to claim their status as high, because that time people wanted to become their status as high. But when Government of India Act 1935 implemented, they came to know that this act is going to give some constitutional protection to scheduled caste and scheduled tribe people. So people started to claim their position in the caste as low. So thus colonialism brought so many changes in the institution of caste system. These are the important points coming under colonialism and caste. Now we have 6 people: Jyoti Rao Govindarao Phule, Ayyangali, Savitri Bhai Phule, Periyar, Sri Narayana Guru and M.N. Srinivasan. These people worked for the welfare of lower caste people. They worked against the injustice of caste system, and you have to learn about their important contributions to the society. Okay, so first is Jyoti Rao Govindarao Phule, a Maharashtrian by birth. He was working against the injustice that happened in the caste system, and for that he established a Satya Shodhak Samaj for attaining social justice to lower caste people. So Jyoti Rao Govindarao Phule started Satya Shodhak Samaj in 1873, which is, this part is very important, and he worked for the social justice of lower caste people. Next comes Ayyangali, born in Kerala. He was a leader of lower caste as well as Dalit. He worked for the welfare of Dalit, and he wanted to give freedom to walk on public roads to Dalits, as well as he wanted Dalit children to be admitted in school. So he made efforts for the welfare of Dalits to walk on public roads as well as to get admission in schools. That is also important. Then comes Savitri Bhai Phule. She is the partner of Jyoti Rao Phule. She was the first headmistress of country's first school for girls in Pune. She worked for the welfare of girl child. She started the first school for girls in Pune, and she devoted mainly her life for educating girls, educating women as well as lower caste people. So she wanted to educate Shudras who were working and who were agriculturalists as well as laborers, and she started a night school in Maharashtra in Pune for teaching these people who were working as laborers. She died while serving plague patients. So this here the first headmistress for girls in Pune is Savitri Bai Phule, is very important. Then next comes Periyar, otherwise known as E.V. Ramaswamy Naikar. She was a rationalist leader. He was a leader of lower caste movement in South India, and he worked for attaining equality to all. Equality to all, and he believes that equality is the birthright of every individual. Every individual should enjoy liberty as well as equality. Next comes Sri Narayana Guru, born in Kerala, as all of you know. His main preaching was brotherhood. He fought against the ill effects of caste system, and his watchwords, one caste, one religion and one God for all men, was a famous watchword. Then comes M.N. Srinivasan, Mysore Narasimhachar Srinivas, India's foremost sociologist, social anthropologist, well known for his works on caste system as well as village studies, and he introduced two terms, Sanskritization and dominant caste, that is very important. Sanskritization and dominant caste were the two terms introduced by M.N. Srinivasan, and he wrote a book. You have already learned about that book in your first year class, The Remembered Village, which is one of the best known village studies in social anthropology. So here you should remember Sanskritization and dominant caste were the two terms introduced by M.N. Srinivasan, and Remembered Village is a book written by M.N. Srinivasan. He was a social anthropologist and sociologist. So that is all for today. Thank you.